All right. That's all good. All right. How we all doing?
Good.
Good to hear. Well, my name is Aaron. I'm a wildlife specialist here at the museum, and this will be the bird of prey encounter. Before I get started, let you know this will be about a 15-minute program or so. If at any point any of you need the restrooms or water fountains, they're out the door to the left. If you do leave and then come back in, because I am leaving that door open today, if you come back in, I ask that you come back in just calmly. Don't run back in like a startled bird. If you think of any questions to ask, I'm going to ask that you hold us until the end of the program. That way I don't forget where I was, get distracted, anything like that. But I also ask that you remember those questions because I want to answer them just at the right time. And then at the very end, I'll step down from the stage, invite you folks up to the white line, and this is mainly for you folks in the back to get a closer view of the bird. You take photos while you guys are up here as well, just no flash, and I'll answer any more questions that come into your mind at that time. That sound okay? All right, very cool. So with the bird of prey talk. How I start this talk off every single time is by getting you guys to help me out. Now, right now, we are in a bird of prey center at a bird of prey encounter with a bird of prey. So I want to know how many birds of prey we can all name. So if you can think of an individual species or a group of birds, love to hear it. You can raise your hand. We'll go one at a time. We'll see how many birds we can get. And I will start us off by letting you all know that there's a lot. So good luck. And yeah, who wants to start us off with a bird? Go for it. Great horned owl. Yeah, of course. The great horned owl is a bird of prey. Very, very good.
Turkey vulture.
Turkey vulture. Yeah, I like the scavengers. The prey isn't alive, but it still counts. Definitely. How much? Yeah. What was it? Yeah, bald eagle, for sure. That's definitely a bird of prey. Very good. You going? Osprey. Yeah. They aren't quite back yet, but yes, I love watching osprey over the water. Those are definitely birds of prey. Yeah?
Owl.
Owls, just owls in general. Yeah, all owls for sure are birds of prey. Did you have one? Yeah, do you have one? What? Bird in the snow? We'll say a snowy owl. Sure. Yeah, that's definitely one. Bird in the snow. Could be a bird of prey in the snow. Yeah. Eagles. Just all eagles. Yeah, definitely. So we got vultures, eagles, we got osprey, owls.
California.
What else? Falcons. Falcons for sure. California condor, yeah, giant one. Hawks, yeah. So did we got another? Yeah, go for it. It's okay. It's okay. You have another? Crow. Yeah. The crow's a bird of prey. And that's kind of what I was waiting for. So, when we hear the term bird of prey, the birds that come to mind are all the ones that you all named. Eagles, owls, hawks, falcons, vultures, ospreys, right? We could go for hours naming all the individuals of those types of birds. But those types of birds are one type of bird of prey. They are all known as raptors. And I didn't ask for raptors, I asked for birds of prey. So a crow's not an eagle, it's not a hawk, it's not a falcon, it's a crow. But it is a bird of prey, because it is a bird that has prey, little mice, or scavenges on carrion. So to be a bird of prey, you have to be a bird that simply has prey. So by definition, I could have brought one of those chickens from the ranch up here. That would have been a bird of prey talk. But I didn't. I brought out a raptor. And raptors are special. They are separated from general birds of prey by three things. All three of those things are visible on every single raptor. So you can see them all on him. The first, those eyes, the vision. That's why we say watching it like a hawk, because of how far they see. And they achieve this through the size of those eyes. And his eyes, they don't look that big. But you have to remember his skull is very, very small. Under all of those feathers, it's nothing but eyes. Those two eyes take up roughly 2/3 of his skull space. It's really big, right? Imagine if our eyes did that. It'd be terrifying. right? Like that. But for him, it looks normal because his eyes have a small end and a large end. The small end is what we can see, the larger end, back of the eye. The next of three, that beak. That beak there has a hook. You're never going to see a crow with a hooked beak. Theirs is always straight and pointy to catch their food. His is hooked and sharp, not to catch anything, but to rip it apart. Once he catches, say, something like a duck, he can't swallow that thing whole. So he uses that beak as his utensil. That's his fork, that's his knife. He rips it up into bite-sized pieces. We use forks and knives to cut up our food into bite-sized pieces. Our way is just a bit cleaner. He uses his face instead. The last of three, these feet. Good time. So, raptors use these feet to catch their prey. Again, you won't see a general bird of prey using a foot to catch anything. But a raptor, with those talons, will reach out, grab that prey, and bring it in. And a comfortable position for his feet, closed. So once he has it, it's easy to hold on to it. So the eyes, feet, beak. And you can see them on every single raptor. And then think about it from a hunter's perspective. You have to see the food, catch it, and eat it. And all three done really well by the raptor. All right, that's the general information about raptors. So now we all know what defines a raptor and just a general bird of prey. Let's talk about this guy here. I will ask, does anyone know what species of raptor he is? Not all at once. That's okay. That's totally fine. It is very rare for anyone to really get this species right. This is a gyr falcon. A gyr falcon. So, gyr falcons, they are technically native to Oregon. If you're trying to find a gyr falcon, you'd be very, very lucky to see them here. They've been spotted as far south as Madras in Central Oregon, and then Albany and Salem in the valley. They also are along the coastline every once in a while, too. If you're trying to really see a gyr falcon, though, you have to go far up north. And I'm talking way up north, past the boreal forests of Canada, into the Arctic tundra. So that is where you find gyr falcons. So if you can imagine where Alaska is on a map, way up there, and then go circumpolar from there around the globe, that is where gyr falcons are found. But what I like to focus on isn't really where you find gyr falcons, it's what they do while they're up there. And what they do is hunt. So we're going to kind of talk about what they hunt and how they hunt. So what do gyr falcons hunt? Well, gyr falcons are the largest falcon species in the world. This is as big as they're going to get when it comes to falcons. So his menu just has larger prey than, say, a normal sized falcon. So he still goes after primarily things that fly. Falcons in general are known as avian specialists, specializing in things that fly. So he goes after just big things that fly. So large waterfowl like ducks. He'll go after large shorebirds like cormorants or gulls. He'll even go after. The door keeps like opening and closing. I don't know what's going on. So he'll go after those cormorants and gulls. He'll go after ducks. He'll go after over the open tundra. He'll go over the open tundra. He'll go for Arctic hare, which is like a quick elusive rabbit up there, and then also ptarmigan, which is like a medium-sized grouse-like bird up in the Arctic. So that's his main prey. Now, how does he catch it? We already went over. If it doesn't quiet down out there, I will go close up for it. We'll give it another minute and see if they move through. It's a large group of kids just walk by. So, so we already went over how they catch their food with their feet, but then none of that prey is going to walk into his foot. He has to go and grab it. And all that prey is trying to get away. Those birds, they're flying away really fast. The rabbit running away really fast. So how does he catch it? Well, it's by being faster. And now you're thinking, of course, right? To catch something, you have to be quicker. But for him, he's way faster. Like not even fair how fast this bird is. So diving speeds for gyrfalcons range anywhere from 150 to 180 miles an hour. That's fast, right? That's crazy. But that is with gravity, so that's cheating. So what about parallel to the ground? What about a tail chase, when you're chasing that prey? That's where they excel. During a tail chase, gyrfalcons can maintain speeds at roughly 60 to 65 miles an hour, bursting to 70 to 80 miles an hour. To put that in perspective, he's passing you in the left lane with ease. Crazy fast, right? If you're interested in seeing this in real time, the BBC network over in the UK, they put a gyrfalcon on a racetrack with a sports car and race them, because why not? And that individual gyrfalcon that they used, I believe it was a female, that gyrfalcon kept up with that race car 69 miles an hour, that individual. So if you want to see it in real time, you can Google BBC Network gyrfalcon race car. It'll come up. It's really cool. So how they achieve this speed is through two main ways. There's a lot of ways. There's two main ways though. It's the shape of the wings and the feathers on those wings. So the shape of his wings, they are like a fighter jet. If you picture a jet flying through the sky, that's a falcon flying through the sky. They're very narrow and they come to a tapered end. And if you can picture, the shape kind of curves a little bit down. So it looks like that. And then the feathers on this bird, the wing and tail feathers, well, I should say, when I think of a feather, I think it's really soft, right? A feather's supposed to be soft, and it's supposed to kind of float in the air. When you drop it, it's supposed to go like this, down to the ground, right? His wing feathers and tail feathers, if you take it and drop it, it makes a thud on the ground. It's straight down there, makes a thud. And that is because they are stiff. They are extremely, extremely stiff. If you try to take that feather and bend it in your hand, it would pop out of your hand before you're able to actually bend it. And that makes sense. When he's trying to gain speed, gain momentum, flap his wings really hard, pick up all of that, he doesn't want anything dragging behind him. Nothing should break formation. Everything should stay together, stay with the bird. Nothing should float. It should all cut through the air like a knife. And that is his wings and his tail. So all of this bird is built for that speed and that chase. So what we're going to end on is why he's here and how they're doing in the wild. So he is here because he was raised in captivity to be a falconry bird. And for you folks that don't know, falconry is a sport of hunting with raptors. So he is a 22-year-old bird. He is old. In the wild, they live an average of about 11, 12, 13, maybe 14. Their max lifespan in the wild is roughly 20. But in captivity, we can extend that. That's why he's 22 and still doing great. And he, with the falconer, he was local, so Central Oregon, he hunted ducks. That was his quarry. He's taken down several species of ducks. I think all but 2 species in Oregon and Idaho. I think. That's what I remember being told by the falconer. So he's been around. And to give you an idea of how strong this bird was in his prime, he one time took down a full-grown Canadian goose. Oh. Yeah. But now he's retired, so doesn't have to do that anymore. Room service, healthcare, he's got it all. So doesn't have to hunt anymore for his food. And in captivity, I mentioned we can extend that lifespan. Since we're past the max in the wild, or at least the rough max of 20, we're sort of just on borrowed time. Our previous gyrfalcon lived to be 27 and a half. Hoping he does the same. 25 would be excellent. That's a wonderful lifespan for a gyrfalcon. But as of today, they're in a pretty good mood. And then how they're doing in the wild, happy to say they're doing okay. The main reason they're doing okay is because they live in the tundra. We don't live in the tundra. They've avoided us. But you can check back in, because within the last 10, 15 years, there's been a few threats that have come across. The biggest threat is obviously the climate crisis. Habitats are receding up there, and new habitats are also forming up there. So we don't know how that's going to affect their population. Another threat that's fairly new is that because of the warming, there are birds moving further up north into those habitats where they have never ever been before. There are peregrine falcons now in gyrfalcon territory where they've never ever been. So we don't know how that's going to play out. It's a completely new dynamic. We don't know how they're going to like end up sharing the environment if they share. Currently, we're kind of seeing that peregrines are more aggressive. We're hoping that they can figure it out, but we're not really sure what's going to happen to the deer falcon because they're moving further and farther. But as of right now, we're still doing okay. But 10, 15 years, we'll check back in and see if we have more depth. All right, on that is the end of the talk. If you want to stick around for Q&A, I'll take your questions. If you don't, that is okay. There are cute otters at them, so it's totally fine. But remember, at the end, I'll step down from the stage, invite you guys up, and you can come take a photo, say hi to him, say hi to me as well if you want, but he's more important. But I'm happy to take your guys' questions if you guys have any.
Are you gonna fly the bird?
Am I gonna fly him? Nope. I'm sorry. This is as good as it gets right now. He's too old. I used to fly him for these programs. I used to fly him to that stump down there. I would put the stump kind of in the crowd and fly him back and forth. But he's too old now, and we stopped doing that last summer. We use those for other birds, but not for him. He's too big, and if being a falcon, hitting perches this close will hurt his feet. Yep, you have to think about the individual bird that you're actually going to fly. It's not as simple as just letting him go. Yeah. Any other questions? Go for it.
How much does he weigh?
How much does he weigh? Do you want to guess? 4 pounds and 2 pounds. How much? A pound. He is about 2.5. 2.5 pounds. He's not very heavy. He was 1,140 grams this morning. So he probably is still about that weight, unless he poops. Are they common for falconry birds? They're not common in the sense of like they're common like red tails or common like peregrine falcons or goshawks even, but they're not uncommon. They're a desired bird. They're just very expensive because you typically will get one from a breeder. You can go and get them from the wild, but you need special permits. And if you Google like falconers getting chicks from nests or things like that, because you need special permits, not everyone can go do it. It's still regulated with their population size, like how hunting is for tags and all that. Same kind of thing. If you look at videos of it, it looks terrifying because they're cliff nesters, and they typically will nest on the cliff over an ocean. So like it's a straight drop cliff, and there's a tiny little nest. So not worth it in my opinion. But I wouldn't say common, but not terribly uncommon. It's kind of. Any other questions? Go for it.
With the falconry program, are these birds used for depredation prevention, or is it a sport? I guess what
All the above. So falconry is a sport / a hobby that has been around pre-literate times. It is still very like alive and well all throughout the world. Even here in Oregon, we have there's apprentice level, general practice, and a master level. We have, that I know of, 3 master level falconers in Oregon, 1 in Central Oregon, or 2 in Central Oregon. So it's alive and well. And using them for abatement, which is more of a job type deal, because you would take your bird to a site like an airport or a golf course or a vineyard and fly your bird around to help manage pests. They wouldn't really hunt the pests, they would just, a predator in the area scares off the pests and keeps them off the property, the crops, and like that. So that's abatement. And then the sport of hunting is, you would go out and hunt every week with a bird, multiple times a week if you can. And you have to register what you're hunting, you have to register the bird, there's a lot of things involved. But he hunted. That's what he did. Any others? Alrighty. Well, if you want to come to the white line, you can feel free. I'll step down. Thank you guys so much. Our next talk is at 12. It'll be a carnivore talk. It'll be in this room. I recommend coming back for that. There's no live animal, but it's still very much worth it because there's a lot of props, very tactile. It's very cool. You stand at the white line, man. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.